now?
I'll put it online.
Okay.
We are live.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. We welcome you all to Ortho TV Online Monday Motivation Webinar. To introduce our today's speaker, I hand over to the moderator, Dr. Tushar Agarwal.
Hi guys, good evening, and a big thanks to Neeraj Bijlani, Ashok Sham, and Ortho TV for continuing this Monday motivational webinar. Also, a very big thanks to all the audience who continue to join us week on week, and we are also receiving good amounts of feedback and their suggestions as well. And we encourage you to send more and more of these feedbacks and suggestions. We'll try to incorporate it as much as possible. For today evening's speaker, Mr. Sunil Parekh, I have been associated with him from the COVID times only over the last 100 days or so. And I found him to be a person who is so keen to help others accomplish what they desire, be it overcoming anxiety, be it any other thing. So he is a master trainer who trains people in art of neuro-linguistic programming, subconscious re-imprinting, and using various other techniques like EFT, tapping, and simple techniques in day-to-day practice, which you can use to overcome anxiety and fear. He is with us for the second time. We also do a parallel program on Saturday. So he was there with us. Some of you may have heard his talk. So please be with us, and we are actually very fortunate to be able to learn this technique in an hour, which actually sometimes is a 4-day course. So please pay attention, and I'm sure all of us will benefit a lot. Right, over to you, Sunil ji.
Thank you, Dr. Tushar, and thank you everybody, to all the viewers for being here. And my sincere gratitude for giving me this opportunity to share some of my research on the mind, on the human mind and the human potential over the last 20 years. So I've been doing this teaching and training people on very simple techniques on how you can overcome emotions. And emotions is something which goes completely haywire in times, difficult times like the current times of corona pandemic situation, which none of us have ever experienced in a life and hopefully will never experience in the future. But all said and done, it is a difficult situation, and nobody knows how long it's going to continue. So it is uncertain times. And then when there is uncertain times, there's obviously a possibility of anxiety, of tension, of worry. And not only that, but when we don't know what's going to happen, it could even lead to irritation and frustration and anger and all of this. So essentially, bottom line is it's all about emotions. So the question is, can we deal with our emotions? And if we're able to deal with our emotions and keep our minds calm and peaceful, we can probably go through this journey, because the good news is tough times never last. Tough people do. Okay. So let me begin. Warm welcome to everybody. Let me begin with a very beautiful law of nature. Like we have the law of gravitation, we have the law of expanding of metal. So there are various laws. Similarly, there is another law which is called the law of impermanence. And the law of impermanence states something very simple. It says nothing in this universe is permanent. Nothing in this universe is permanent, which means, no weather is going to continue forever. So summer is always followed by autumn, autumn by winter, winter by spring, and then the cycle always continues. Yeah, day is followed by night, night is followed by day. So this always continues. Stock markets go up, down, up, down. So historically, it has never changed. And the universe is constantly changing. Even we are changing, which means that difficult times will always be followed by good times. There is no option. That is the law. Like the law of gravitation works for everybody, the law of impermanence also always works. So the only question is that while we are in difficult times and while the good times are definitely going to come, the question is how do we spend the time in between? The time that is there in between is the one which is the most difficult time period. And if we learn how to pass this time in a little beautiful manner, I think we can sail through difficult times and get into wonderful times. Okay. So here it reminds me at this moment of, so while we are waiting for the good times, we have a choice. And when we talk about choice, it reminds me of a beautiful formula which one of my coaches, his name is Mr. Jack Canfield, he's America's #1 success coach. He taught me because he's one of my mentors. So he said, Sunil, E plus R equals to O. So what he means by this formula is events plus response is equal to outcome. Events that happen in our life are not in our control. Like if it starts raining suddenly outside, it's not in my control. But there are two kinds of responses we can have when it is heavily raining, cats and dogs outside. One response is, oh my God, it is raining so heavily. Again, my car is going to get stuck. I will not be able to reach office in time. My shoes are going to get bad. Everything is going to happen. So one response is this negative response. And when the response is negative, the outcome is obviously going to be negative. That means we're not going to feel good. We're going to be probably frustrated and angry and upset and all of that. Okay. But when there is another response which is possible, that if there is heavy rainfall outside, the other response could be, wow, what a beautiful weather. Look at the beautiful weather. It's cleaned up the trees. The trees are looking so much greener. The flowers are looking so beautiful. The weather has become so nice and cool. So the rainfall is the same. Please notice this. The rainfall is the same, but two people responding in a different manner. One person responding in a positive manner, second person responding in a negative manner. So while events are not in our control, the response that we give to the event is definitely in our control. And depending on how we respond to the different events in our life, we get the outcomes. So if we're responding positively, we get a positive outcome. We feel good about it. If we give a negative response, the outcome is negative, right? The same thing we can apply to the current corona pandemic situation. Not in our control. Nobody even thought that such a thing could even happen, right? So while the event is not in our control, the response definitely is, because the response is only and only in our control. Now, again, there are two responses. One is a negative response. Oh my God, this corona pandemic, God knows what's going to happen. What's going to happen to my work? My staff is always troubled. They are angry. They are frustrated. The patients are coming and I don't have any time. And there's so much problem. And I don't know when all of this is going to end. I'm, risking my own life doing all of this. So that's a negative response. The outcome is we're going to be stressed. We're going to be anxious, worried. And stress, worry, and anxiety has all kinds of challenges. We all know that more than 90% diseases are psychosomatic. So the first thing when we undergo stress is it's going to affect us, physically, mentally, emotionally, it's going to affect us. And then when it affects us, obviously it's going to affect our work, our performance, how we talk to people, how we behave with people, all of that is impacted. The second response to this event, corona pandemic, is a positive response. The positive response could be, hey, in this time, I'm getting some extra time, which I never used to get. When the times are normal, I never get so much time. So, I'm not sure for doctors, I'm sure doctors are very, very busy all the time. But, for normal people like us, this is a time when we have a lot of time to connect with family, to read something new, to upgrade our knowledge. So, while this session is also happening, this is an opportunity where we are learning something new which can improve our lives, right? So even in the current situation, we can use the time to do something good, bond with family, read something new, learn us something new, upgrade ourselves. The outcome can be positive. Even if it is such a deadly situation, the response can still be positive. So what I'm trying to say is, in any life situation, there are always two responses. And that response, choosing the response, is always in our control. Nobody else can take away this from us. Okay. So while we don't have any event control on the event, we have a power of choice on the response. And based on how we respond, we get the corresponding outcome. Okay. So while I'm saying all of this, but the reality doesn't go, right? The reality is that it is a difficult situation and there is no end to it. And we don't know when it is going to end. So while all of this happens, there is bound to be fear. There is bound to be anxiety. There is bound to be tension. All of this is bound to happen. Anger, frustration, all of this is bound to happen. And when anything is life threatening in nature, when there is anything which is likely to threaten our lives, our most basic instinct is that of survival. We all need to survive in these difficult times also, right? We're all scared. What's going to happen to us? What if I catch this, this virus? What if it happens to me? What if it happens to my family? So whenever there is a life threatening situation, this basic instinct is aroused. It is that of survival. How do I save myself? And this instinct is there from prehistoric times. It is not something new. It has always been there, right from the prehistoric times. Now, in those days, what used to happen is people used to live in caves. Human beings used to live in caves. And they used to, whenever they used to go out, the biggest thing they were scared of is those ferocious animals like tigers and lions and all of that, right? So the human brain had to develop in such a manner. This is the evolution of the human brain. The human brain had to develop in such a manner that human beings should be able to save themselves, right? Because if the animal is prowling in the bushes, even a little movement of the bush and a little sound in the bush should alert the human being so that the human being can run away from there and save his life. So over a period of time, what happened is the brain evolved. Yeah. And the brain evolved in such a way that it gets ready whenever it senses a threat in the environment, it is ready to deal with the situation. So the way you deal with any life-threatening situation is either you're ready to fight the situation or you are ready to flight the situation. That means run away from the situation. But if there is an animal and if you have to do either of the two, whether fight with the animal or run away from the animal, in both the cases, you need tremendous energy. And that is the energy which is generated by our system. Okay, so we have the involuntary nervous system that we have inside us is the system which really enables us to generate the required energy that is required to fight with the situation. Okay, so I want to draw the attention of all of you, because all of you are doctors mostly, right? So I want to draw your attention to a part in the human brain which is called the amygdala. The amygdala is a part of the human brain which is responsible for helping us survive in life-threatening situations. So let me give an analogy. Like if you've seen any intelligent building, okay, any intelligent building, you see in any room there are smoke detectors, right? And the role of the smoke detector is that if there is a fire in the room, it is able to catch the smoke or detect the smoke, and then it sends a signal to the building management system that's saying that there is a danger. Yeah, so let me show you this diagrammatically so that we clearly understand the role of the amygdala and the fight-flight response. So this is the smoke detector in a building, an intelligent building. It detects the fire, sends the signal to the building management system saying that there is a danger and you need to do the necessary things. So what does the building management system do? It brings the entire building into high alert. How does it bring the building into high alert? It's going to sound the alarms across the building. Okay, the fire is only in one room, but it's going to sound the alarm in the entire complex saying that there is some danger somewhere. Everybody become alert, and the sprinkler systems are switched on. The operational team becomes alert. All of this happens. And this must happen because when there's a fire, all this must happen, right? But let's say that there is a situation where it's the birthday of one of the associates in the building, okay? And he or she wants to celebrate the birthday. And as a result, he or she orders about 6 to 8 sizzlers, the wonderful sizzlers. So he orders some sizzlers in the room. And you know how much smoke is generated when the sizzlers come, right? So if there are 6 to 8 sizzlers, it's going to generate a lot of smoke, and that smoke will go to the smoke detector. the smoke detector is not able to detect the difference between a real fire and a perceived fire. Okay, so what happens is when the smoke detector detects the smoke, the same thing happens. It sounds the alarm in the entire building, brings the building into high alert, but this time there is no fire. Okay, so it's just a perceived fire, but the building management system doesn't know. So it's going to sound the alarm in the entire building, start the sprinkler systems, the operational team will get alert and all of that. But you know that it's not a fire, it's only a birthday party. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to run to the closest telephone extension, call up the BMS room and say, hey, all is well, don't worry. It's only a party, it's not a fire. So what is the building management system people going to do? It's going to bring the building back to normal by switching off the alarms, switching off the sprinkler systems. The operational team comes back to rest and the building comes back to normal. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because the same system resides in the brain. Okay, the amygdala, which is there in our brain, does exactly the same. Whenever there is a life-threatening situation, let's say there is a tiger, or let's say not even a tiger, let's say there is a ferocious dog running towards us, okay, and his teeth is all coming out and is ready to pounce upon us. So what's going to happen? That life-threatening situation is going to trigger the amygdala within split seconds. It doesn't take too much time. Within split seconds, it triggers the amygdala. The amygdala triggers the fight-flight system, okay, the fight-flight mechanism. Okay, and what it does is it pumps cortisol, it pumps adrenaline. Basically, it activates the sympathetic nervous system. Okay, and it brings the body into fight-flight system, and the body is on high alert. Now, when I say body is high alert, let's see what happens when the body is on high alert. Okay, let me just show you this. This is called the fight-flight notices, the effects that happen on the body. So pupils dilate, tunnels, there's a tunnel vision, the mouth gets dry, there is palpitation, the breathing gets shallow, there's increased sweating, there's if there's too much of fear, the legs start trembling. All of this happens. There's tension in the muscles, your hands and legs become very strong. All of this is the effect of the fight-flight system. Okay, so what does the amygdala do? As soon as it understands there's a life-threatening situation, it pumps cortisol, adrenaline, activates the sympathetic nervous system, brings the body on high alert so that you can deal with this animal. The ferocious dog is right there in front of us, so we have only two options: either run or fight. So obviously we're going to run, right? Nobody's going to take a chance in fighting, so we're going to run. And there is so much energy generated in the body that even if we are really tired, the energy level that is generated within a split second is tremendous. We run like crazy. And if somebody measures our speed at that moment, trust me, you will break all Olympic records. Okay. Now, when there is a ferocious dog like this in front of us, this must happen because it is a life-threatening situation and it must happen. Okay. But the amygdala, like the smoke detector, is not able to detect between a real threat and a perceived threat. The amygdala is also not able to detect between a life-threatening situation and a life situation. So right now, while we're talking about the corona pandemic situation, and it is pretty life-threatening, but if we follow all the all the safety guidelines and maintain the social distancing and do whatever it is necessary to keep ourselves safe, we are pretty safe. It's not like an animal trying to pounce on us. It is something which is obviously life-threatening, but not to that extent, like an animal ready to pounce on us. But even the thought in our mind that, my God, what's going to happen in the future? The situation is so uncertain. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And then we listen to the TV news where we hear, people dying every day, the number of cases rising every day. And when we listen to all of this, the amygdala feels there is danger because the amygdala is not able to sense, is it a real life-threatening situation or is it a perceived situation? So when we listen to the TV news and we're listening to other people that, oh, this person died, this happened, this happened, it's going to trigger the amygdala, it's going to trigger the fight-flight system mechanism, pump the cortisol, pump adrenaline, activating the sympathetic nervous system, and we are on high alert and our bodies are on high alert. There's a strange sensation that's going on. That is basically emotions are running haywire, completely haywire, and there is no control. Now the challenge is when there's a dog and the energy gets generated, we run. And because we run, the energy gets expended, it gets used. In this situation, when we are only thinking about the situation and the energy gets generated, it's not used. And that is why that extra energy gets stuck in our system. The emotions get stuck in our system, which lead to all kinds of challenges. Okay. So, like in this case, we send the signal all is well. What if we send an all is well signal to the amygdala? That all is well, don't worry, it's not a life-threatening situation. So if we are able to send a signal to the amygdala, it's going to calm down the system. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and immediately the body returns back to normal. So we are going to send an all is well signal to amygdala using a technique which is called EFT. So whatever amount of gyan I give you, whatever amount of knowledge I try to give you, do this, you should not do this, you should meditate, you should do all of that. There is threat. And when there is threat, stuff is going to happen. So in these situations, all amount of knowledge, whatever knowledge we have, it becomes hard to control our emotions in this situation. So in this situation, we need tools. We need tools to make stuff work, that it should bring our, body back to normal very quickly. And this is a tool that I'm going to share with you. And this is an amazing tool which I've been using personally for almost about 7-8 years. And it has made a huge difference to my life and to more than 100,000 students that I've trained. So my only suggestion is today, my strong recommendation to each one of you is that the technique is so simple that there is a tendency to ignore the technique, that, oh, can it be so simple? Can it really work? My only humble suggestion to all of you is just try it out. And if it works, use it. If it doesn't, try it. Doesn't cost us any money, right? So why not try it out? So let me take you directly to the actual technique, which is called the emotional freedom techniques. It's called EFT. This has been tested clinically. It has been proven clinically that it works. In US, in fact, in USA, in fact, there are hospitals in which they have EFT clinics. Before a patient is taken for an operation, the patient has to pass through the EFT clinic, deal with the anxiety, and then the patient is taken for the operation. Okay. So there's been ample research. If you Google EFT, you will come to know. But what is EFT? EFT is basically a combination of Chinese acupuncture and modern psychology. So if you've heard about Chinese acupuncture, the Chinese people, they essentially use certain points on the body which are called meridian points, and they prick needles on these points. Okay. So in EFT, we don't prick any needles, but we're going to use the same points and we're going to gently tap. Okay. We're going to just gently tap on these points. So I'm going to tell which of these points we're going to use. But when you gently tap on these points, what has been found, what the neuroscientists and people who are working in this field have found, that it actually sends calming signals to the amygdala. It triggers the asympathetic nervous system and calms down the entire system. Okay. So parasympathetic nervous system, sorry. So it calms down the entire system. The cortisol levels reduce, stress levels reduce, the anxiety is reduced, and you come back to normal. Okay. So this is the technique that we're going to learn today. Okay, which is really a combination of Chinese acupuncture and modern psychology. Now, let me give you a little bit of history of this technique, where it was developed and how it came into being. Okay. So there was a psychologist by the name of Dr. Roger Callahan. And in 1981, he was treating a patient by the name of Mary. Now, this is not the real name of the patient. So Mary had a problem in having fear of water. So she had acute hydrophobia, where whenever she used to see a large body of water, including, body of water in the tub, in the washroom, she used to get a phobia. She used to get really anxious. There used to be a lot of, sensations in the stomach area, palpitations, heavy breathing, all of that used to start. And Roger was treating Mary for almost 2 years, and unfortunately with very little results. So one day, Dr. Roger had a meeting, Mary had a meeting with Dr. Roger in a hotel. So she got into the hotel, and as soon as she was walking toward Dr. Roger's room, there was a swimming pool in between. So she saw the swimming pool and she got really scared, because she had this hydrophobia. So looking at the water, she got really, really scared. The whole thing started triggering the fight flight mechanism. All that happened. She got a very strange sensation in the stomach. So she went running to Dr. Rogers' office and said, doctor, please help me. My stomach is, something's really strange happening, strange sensation in my stomach. Can you please help? So Dr. Roger had recently learned acupuncture. He had done a class recently on acupuncture. And in the class, he had learned that there is a point under the eye which is connected with the abdomen. So he told Mary, why don't you just tap under the eyes? Close your eyes and just tap under the eye for about 5 minutes. So today when Dr. Roger is asked, why did you tell Mary to do that? And he said, I just intuitively did it. I don't even know why I told her to do that. But I told Mary, why don't you just tap under your eye like this? So Mary closed her eyes and she started tapping under the eye. And she did tap, 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 tap. She kept on tapping, tapping. But while she was tapping, she started remembering the phobia of water, the fear of water that she had. So she was remembering all the instances of where she had the fear of water. She kept tapping, 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 tapping. And in about 5 minutes, she opens her eyes and she says, it's gone. So Dr. Roger says, are you feeling a little better? Is your stomach better? What's happening? Mary says, no, Dr. Roger, not only the stomach has, the pain has gone and subsided completely, but my fear of water is gone. So Dr. Roger says, are you kidding? I've been working with you for 2 years, nothing has happened. And now you're saying in 5 minutes it's gone. How is it possible? It's impossible. Can't happen. So Mary says, let me prove it to you. And she ran from a room and she actually went into the swimming pool and she entered the swimming pool. And this shocked Dr. Rogers, saying, what happened? Obviously, something happened which shifted. Okay, that which shifted, something happened and the phobia went away, right? So Dr. Roger did almost 10 years of hardcore research. Okay, this is hardcore research for 10 years on what really happened to Mary. And in his research, what he found out in 10 years is that there are certain points on the body, when you tap on them, thinking about the problem that you are encountering, emotional problem that you're encountering, those emotions are removed from your mind. Okay, so that's what he found out in the 10 years of research. So after 10 years, he developed a system which is called the thought field therapy, TFT. Now he started using the TFT on his patients. And what happened is, the patients which used to take almost 1 to 2 years for treatment got treated in one session. So then what happened is, very soon he found that, he has very much lot of time because his patients were getting healed very quickly. So he said, why don't I start teaching this technique? Because this is like almost like a breakthrough technique. So why don't I teach it to others so that, people can benefit of it? So one of his first students was a person called Gary Craig, and he was an engineer from Stanford. So he attended Dr. Callahan's workshop on TFT. And after attending the workshop, Gary Craig says, doctor, this is too complicated, because what Dr. Roger had done is, for every ailment like fear, anxiety, worry, tension, past experiences, depression, he had a list of points to tap on and the sequence and all of that. So you had to every time first diagnose what the problem was, then recommend the sequence in which you have to tap the points. And there were very specific sequences and all that which needed to be followed. So Gary says, doctor, this is a little too complicated. Can't we simplify this? So what he did is, he applied his engineer's mind. Engineers think a little differently. So he said, why don't we just tap on all the points? Whatever points are the important points on the body, rather than worrying about this point, this sequence, that sequence, why don't we just tap on all the points? Why don't we just overhaul the whole body rather than working on one part of the body? So he developed a completely different system, which was very, very simple. And that system was called EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques. So what I'm going to share with you today is really a contribution of Dr. Roger Callahan and Gary Craig. And the most beautiful thing that Gary did is that he said we should make this freeware. And that is why he gives a lot of stuff on the internet, lots of videos, lots of materials. So I would urge you to even look at some of the materials and research and all of that, which is done on EFT. Okay, and it's such a simple technique. It can be just learned immediately to let go of stress and tensions. Okay. So what Gary discovered is that there are only 9 points on the body. While there are hundreds of meridian points on the body, there are only 9 points on the body which are the most important points. So as long as we tap on those 9 points, Whatever is there inside the mind will get removed. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the 9 points. But before that, let me share with you a piece of research which is done by the Journal of Evidence-Based Integrative Medicine, done on a lot of people. So the journal talks about the clinical evidence of EFT and how quickly it really works. And if you look at some of the results here, that a couple of people attended a 4-day workshop, and in attending the workshop, they found that depression reduced by 35%, anxiety reduced by 40%, post-traumatic stress disorder, that is PTSD reduced by 32%, happiness increased by 31%. Okay, so all of this happened in a 4-day workshop, and there's tremendous amount of research. So if you want to look at the research, you all can always look at it. But let me get to the technique now. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the technique. First of all, let me share with you the 9 points, which are the most important points. Okay, so let me just stop sharing the slide for a moment so that you can see me fully, and you can see the points very clearly. So the first point is called the karate chop point. Okay, so when you hit the karate chop, this is known, we do the karate chop like this, right? So this part of the hand is called the karate chop. Yeah. And how do you tap on this? You just simply use your hand like this and tap like this. Okay. So you can use your left hand or you can use your right hand. Any one hand you can use. Okay. So this point is called the karate chop point. Yeah. The second point is called the eyebrow point. Now this is the eyebrow. The point is over here. It's not in the center. It's on the right or it's on the left. So we're going to use only 2 fingers, the index finger and the middle finger. You're nicely going to align it and gently tap on this point, which is called the eyebrow point. Okay, please don't bang the point. Otherwise, you are all orthopedic doctors. You know what can happen. Okay, just joking, guys. Okay, so this is the eyebrow point. Okay, this third point is called the outside the eye point, side of the eye point over here. So when you tap here, again use 2 fingers, gentle tapping here. You can feel a bony sensation here. Okay, this is outside the eye point. Okay, this is the 4th point under the eye point. When you tap here, again also you feel the bony sensation under the eye point. Okay, the 5th point is under the nose. Again use 2 fingers. The 6th point is called the chin point. Now actually this is the chin, but the point is on the crease here. Okay, there's a crease here. So the point is here. You're going to use 2 fingers and just type on the crease, which is called the chin point. Okay. The next point is called the collarbone point. This is the collarbone here. The point is 1 inch below this. So rather than trying to search the point, you can simply tap on this point like this. Okay. Just tap like this using a 45 degrees hand angle. Just tap on the left side. You can tap on the right side. Any one side is fine. Okay. And then the next point is under the arm point. This is the armpit, 4 inches below the armpit over here. This point is called under the arm point, which is this 8th point. And the last point is called top of the head, which is right here. There are lots of meridian points here. So this is the last point, which is called the top of the head point. Okay. So I urge each one of all of you to please try this out. I'm going to repeat the points once again. The first point is called karate chop point. Okay. Second point is called the eyebrow point. You can even use both the hands together like this. Okay. Eyebrow point. Outside the eye point. Under the eye point. Under the nose point. Chin point. Collarbone point. Under the arm point. And last point is top of the head point. So these are the 9 points which we are going to use. And I'm going to now share with you how to use these 9 points to remove any emotion, whether it is anger, fear, worry, tension, stress, irritation, frustration, whatever is the emotion, it can be removed within a matter of minutes, sometimes within seconds. you can literally remove the emotion and you feel calm and peaceful. Okay, so we take you back to the slide. Okay, so this point here we talked about is the karate chop. The point number 2 is the eyebrow point. This is the side of the eye or the outside the eye point. Fourth point is under the eye point. Fifth point is the chin, under the nose point. Sixth point is the chin point. Seventh point is the collarbone point. Eighth point is under the arm point. It's about 4 inches from the armpit. Okay. The last is the top of the head point. So these are the 9 points which we are going to use to remove any kind of emotion. Now, how do we remove the emotions? Okay. So I'm going to take you through the actual process of removing any negative emotion, or you can even remove or reduce body pain. So the body pain, like, anything which comes up suddenly, like backache or, headache or, shoulder ache or shoulder paining, these kind of pains can be also removed by the EFT technique almost instantly. Okay. So let me take you through the process. So let's say that you're experiencing anxiety. Okay, and I would like all of you to try this technique along with me so that you can actually feel how the anxiety or tension or worry can be reduced. So let's say that you have anxiety or worry about a certain situation in your life. It could be work related, it could be family related, it could be money related, it could be anything. Just pick up any one issue where you feel a little worried or anxious. Okay, so the first step is, whenever I'm a little anxious or worried or something is happening to me, I need to ask myself, what's the problem? What am I feeling right now? If I'm not feeling good, that's the time I'm going to ask this question. What's happening to me? What am I feeling? Oh, I'm stressed. I'm worried. I'm in tension. So we just need to determine what emotion is going on right now. If it is anger, then it is anger. If it is irritation, then mention irritation. So just identify what emotion is going on right now inside. Okay, sometimes it could be mixed emotions, but let's try to pinpoint one emotion that we want to work on right now. Okay. The second is, try to assess what is the level of emotion on a scale of 1 to 10. If it is 10, that means the anxiety is very high. Okay. If it is 1, that means there is no anxiety at all. So the simple question you have to ask yourself is, if I have to give it a number, if I have to give the anxiety or worry a number between 1 to 10, how much is the anxiety that I'm experiencing right now? Oh, it's very high anxiety. So it's about 8 or 9. So give it whatever number you feel suitable. Okay. So if I can ask you, please think about one situation for which you are worried or anxious, then give it a number. What is the level of worry you have for that situation? Just think about it. Okay. And just mentally note down that number, because right now we're going to do the actual EFT and then you will see how the anxiety comes down. Okay. The third step is you actually start tapping on the karate chop point. So you need to tap here. You can tap along with me right now and you can say, even though. This is the statement you have to say while you're tapping on this karate chop point. Okay. You have to say, even though I'm experiencing this anxiety, or even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay. Again, even though I'm really worried about this situation, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Third time, you're going to do it 3 times. Even though I'm feeling a lot of anxiety and tension, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay. So you're going to say this statement 3 times while continuously tapping on the karate chop point. You have to continuously tap here. And you have to say the statement 3 times. If you're angry, what are you going to say? Even though I'm really angry right now and I feel like beating up that person right now, I still love and accept myself. Okay. So if it's anger, say anger. If it is anxiety, say anxiety. Whatever it is, the statement remains the same. Even though I have this emotion, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So you're going to say it 3 times and while tapping on the karate chop point continuously. Okay. Now we're going to use the rest of the 8 points. Okay. So while you're tapping on the rest of the 8 points, you have to just speak out whatever is going on in your mind. So if there is anxiety, obviously there is a reason for the anxiety. It can't be just like that. There is some reason why the anxiety is happening. Maybe something is not happening the way you want, or maybe there is a fear or there's a worry about something. So there is something happening because of which the anxiety is there. So you have to just talk about whatever is connected with that issue. Okay, so tap on this point along with me and just think about your particular issue and keep tapping and say, I'm really anxious. Really don't know what to do. And you're going to tap 7 to 10 times on this point. Okay, and then move on to the next point. Feeling really anxious. This anxiety, I'm not feeling good at all. There's just too much tension. It's too much worries. On each point, you're going to tap for 7 to 10 times. Don't know when this pandemic situation is going to end. Go on to the next point. Day after day, we're just working day and night. And the end is nowhere close. And I'm feeling so tense, so anxious. Go to the next point. I'm really anxious about the situation. God knows what's going to happen. Go to the next point. This anxiety and this fear, it's not making me feel good at all. So while I am saying these words, you can say exactly what's going on in your mind. Okay, so you're not going to make up the words. You're going to say exactly what your inside mind is telling. So the inner voice, you just give it an outer voice. Okay, so I don't know what's going to happen. This anxiety, it's killing me. Not feeling good at all. It's creating so much tension. There's so much worries. Okay, we'll do one more round. Karate chop need not be done again. So we'll directly go from here to this point again. Okay, this anxiety. Don't know what to do. The staff is also getting so upset. There's so much frustration and irritation at times. And all of this is creating so much anxiety. You have to come back to the main emotion, okay, which we're dealing with. We're dealing with anxiety or worry, okay? Feeling so worried, not sure what's going to happen. Sometimes I'm just worried about my own self and my family and what's going to happen in the future. This worry, this tension, this anxiety makes me feel stressed. Sometimes I just get too tired because of this. Day in and out, I'm working. The end is nowhere close. So it's like giving a voice to your inner voice. You don't need to make up anything. We need to just speak what's going on inside our minds, okay? Feeling very anxious. Don't know what to do. Okay, so now we've taken 2 rounds. Now after we've taken a couple of rounds, one round means here, so these 8 points, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. When we finish these 8 rounds, that means 1 round is complete. So in this way, you can take a couple of rounds, just thinking about what's going on. Stop, and you're going to take 3 deep breaths, okay? Take the breath from the nose, inhale from the nose, exhale from the mouth. So let's do that. Do it the second time. Do it the third time. Then just keep your eyes closed for a moment. And then gently open your eyes. And then you can have a little bit of water, because when you do tapping, it releases all the cortisol which is stuck in the system. You know, the cortisol gets stuck in the different parts of the body. So when you do tapping, it has been found that it generates, it actually releases all the cortisol which is stuck. So we need to drink enough water so that the cortisol is flushed out of the system. Okay, so have some water and now check your anxiety level. Check. Have you noticed that the anxiety has gone down a little? Now I know I'm not able to interact with you live, but you can check and probably notify us whether it made a difference to you. Now, if the initial level was 10 and if it came down to 5 or 4 or 3, because you can number it again. If the initial level was 10, what's the level now? Okay, it seems to have come down. So maybe it's 4, 5, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 3, whatever is the number. And sometimes it could have reduced only a little. Sometimes it could have increased. Okay, so don't worry. Even if there's a little change up or down, it's always good. Why would it increase? Because if there's a lot of stuck emotions inside, okay, if there's a lot of stuck emotions inside and you start tapping, it's going to come out like a pressure cooker. It just comes out. All the emotions come out. And for a moment, you feel that the emotions are increasing. Okay, so there's nothing to worry there. Just keep tapping. Don't stop tapping in between. Keep on tapping, keep on tapping, keep talking about what's going on. Just keep taking the rounds. Tap, 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 tap. Take 5, 6 rounds. Sometimes you can tap for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on the time available. But generally in about 4 to 5 rounds, you should feel calm and peaceful. If it is very deeper level issues, then you may need to tap for a longer period of time. But EFT always works. Whether you believe or you don't believe, it always works. Okay, the reason it always works is that when you tap on these points, it sends calming signals to the amygdala. Now, whether you believe it or not, the signals will go to the amygdala. The amygdala has to calm down the system again. It triggers the parasympathetic nervous system and reduces stops the cortisol, the adrenaline, and the body comes back to normal. It just simply works, and it is so quick to learn. Okay, so then always end with 3 deep breaths. Breathe in from your nose, exhale from the mouth. What this does is it moves the energy around and restores the entire balance in your energy system. Yeah, in India, we call it the chakra system. In the Chinese system, it is called the acupuncture system. Whatever system we call it, there is an energy system in the body through which energy flows. Okay. So if the energy system is restored, then automatically what happens is the body's health starts coming back to normal. Okay. So when all the organs of the body get energy, the organs will function properly. Otherwise, they, slowly and steadily, when there's too much stress, the energy stops flowing the way it should flow. The energy reduces to the organs and the dysfunctioning of the energy begins. If you've noticed, the moment people start getting into stress, the first system that starts getting affected is the digestive system. Because in the fight-flight system, when the fight-flight mechanism is triggered, the first place where it pulls the energy is from the digestive system. Because it pulls the energy and gives it to your hands and legs. And that is why the digestive system starts dysfunctioning. If there is more stress, it attacks the immune system. That is why that when there is stress and worries and anxiety, it absolutely affects the immune system. The immunity falls, and then we fall prey to all the different viruses. But if our immune system is very strong, if we are under emotional control, if the body is functioning properly, if the energy level flowing through the body is fine, chances are you'll never fall sick. Okay, it's been my experience for the past 13 years. I've not taken medicines. I am 57 today. I run around the country, do programs almost every single day. I have workshops which I do, but I never get tired. I'm able to do this only and only because I use these techniques day in and out. Okay, so my only suggestion to all of you is that please use these techniques, right? So before I end, I'm going to just share one more thing that you can do on a daily basis. Okay. Like we take a bath in the morning to take care of our bodies, what do we do to take care of our minds? Good question to ask, right? Like every day we take a bath, we wear nice clothes. When we're not feeling well, we eat medicines to take care of the body. What do we do to take care of our minds? So some people will say, I do meditation. We do a lot of different things to calm down the mind, but meditation is absolutely something which is the only medicine for the mind, which works beautifully. The second medicine that I would, prescribe, so to say, for the mind is preventive tapping. This is a technique which can keep you de-stressed throughout the day, and you will see slowly and steadily your mind will not react to situations. Now, what has also been found, which is so interesting, what has been found is that the moment you start tapping, when you are anxious, the amygdala gets reprogrammed. See, now the programs which are sitting in the amygdala are programs which are carried from the prehistoric times. Okay, because this is part of the primitive brain, which is still part of us. The primitive brain still triggers when there is things which are threatening. Now, in today's life, we are living in pretty safe conditions. We are not living in any unsafe conditions. We are living in safe homes. We work in safe offices. So there's nothing to really fear. But the primitive brain, being part of our brain, it still triggers whenever it perceives a threat. So what has been found is that when you do EFT on a regular basis, when you do tapping, it reprograms the amygdala. And things which used to bother you earlier, like for example, a staff is not working properly, and because of that you have to get angry, or the attitude of the staff was not good, or a patient comes and his attitude is very bad and he's just going on and on, not wanting to listen to you, so you getting upset. All these things which create an upset for you, or worry or tension and anxiety, it will slowly reprogram itself, and you will see that whatever is happening in your environment, you are able to respond very calmly and peacefully. And first benefit that you get is it doesn't affect you, doesn't affect your productivity. It also affects how you relate with people. That is emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. So the moment our emotions are under control, we become a different person. Whatever is the emotion of the other person, we are able to understand the other person's emotions also, and we are able to behave or act in a proper manner in presence of any tensions and worries and anything. We are still able to do our work in a calm and a peaceful manner. Okay. So how does preventive tapping work? So it's called the daily cleansing tool, as I call it. Okay. It's a daily mind cleansing tool, I would say. So what do you do? How do you do preventive tapping? It's the ultimate mind cleansing tool that I found in my 20 years of research. Okay. So when you get up in the morning, take a few deep breaths, sit in a very calm and a peaceful place. Okay. Then what you do is start tapping on the karate chop for 35 times. Now the good news is in preventive tapping, you don't have to speak a single word. You don't need to speak anything. Just you need to just tap. Okay. So tap on the karate chop for 35 times. And then what you do is you're going to tap on all the other 8 points. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, under the arm 7 and 8. Then again 1. But what you're going to do is when you're tapping on all these points, think about every single area of your life. Okay, so first area is think about your own health. Second is think about your relationships. Third thing is think about your work area of life or any other concerns about life. So think about all the areas which are causing any concern for you. If health is causing a concern, think about it and tap. Like for example, even a simple thing that I'm not able to go to exercise, and I'm feeling so tired in the mornings, I don't feel like going out and exercising. I know exercising is so important, but I'm still not going. I feel a little lazy. I keep procrastinating all these things. I'm not able to control my food and my diet, and that's why I'm adding weight, but it's not. You don't even need to say these things. Just think about them and tap. Okay, same way, any challenges with relationships. This person just won't listen. The staff is like this. They also don't understand. I understand their concerns, but their behavior, it's just causing so much concern for me. So whatever is going on in your life, just think about the different areas, but don't just think, tap along with it. So what it is going to do is it's going to cleanse all the emotions. It's going to clean up all the emotions connected with all the different areas of your life. Do about 6 to 8 rounds, which will take about 5 to 7 minutes. In about 5 to 7 minutes, you would have taken something which is known as a daily cleansing of the mind. Completely the mind will cleanse. And then when you you will see that during the day, you're getting less upset, you're getting less anxious, less worried, less angry. All of that is happening very less. And over a period of time, you will see that you will be staying calm and peaceful in most situations of life. Yeah. And the most beautiful thing is this technique is very, very easy. Okay. So you can take, after that, you can take 3 deep breaths and have some water, and then you're all set for the day. Yeah. So this is a beautiful technique which you can use. I feel this is what I can really contribute to the doctors, because doctors are on the forefront right now. In spite of the corona pandemic, I salute all of you because you are still out there serving people. In spite of the threats that are existing in the environment, you're out there working for people, helping people, serving people. Even your staff, all of them are working so hard. So I salute each one of you for what you're doing, and I hope that these little techniques that I've shared with you will really, really help you to serve the world. So if I'm able to make a little difference to your life, I'm sure you will be able to do a better job in turn with your own patients and clients and all of that. Okay. So in summary, how to keep the fear and anxiety away? Just a summary. First of all, stop scaring yourself. So what happens is, because we look at all these horrible images in the TV news, and we look at the figures and read the news, listen to people of all these negative news, it's going to scare us. Okay. So, and our subconscious mind is such that it catches all this. Our subconscious mind is like a hard disk. If there's time sometime in the future, maybe I will take a separate session on explaining to you exactly how the subconscious mind works. But the subconscious mind is something which is very open to receiving things which are creating fear and anxiety, because it is life threatening things, right? So it's going to be your mind is very open to accept all those suggestions. So you take all the suggestions from the TV, the radio, this and that and all that, and then it all goes into your mind and it plays in your mind. What's going to happen? So many people are dying. These doctors also died. This happened, that happened. And it scares you. And if it scares you, then we're not able to do our work. We get upset. We get tired. We're not able to perform our duties the way we want to. We want to do it, but we are not able to do it. Yeah. So please stop scaring yourself. If you want to really look at the news, look at it once. And that too just for knowledge. Okay, this is happening. But then take care of yourself. Take care of your emotions. Okay, so how are you going to take care of your emotions? You're going to use preventive tapping every morning. Okay, and evening also if necessary. So before going to sleep, if you have all these things running in your mind, just sit down before you go to bed, tap on all the things that are going in your mind, tap, 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 tap for a few minutes. Breathe in, breathe out, have some water, ready to go to sleep, go to sleep. Because if the anxiety and worries and tension go away, you will sleep like a little baby. Trust me, problems like insomnia and migraine and all of this just go away when you do these techniques. It has worked for so many of my students. Okay, so I know all of your doctors, and I know sometimes people need scientific evidence and proof. So all I'm requesting you is just try it out. Okay, and then use EFT even for reactive situations, like during the day. If you get angry or upset, or if you're worried, or if you're tense, take a 2 or 3 minutes break between seeing patients, or go to the washroom. Tap on your point. Even if you don't say anything, it's okay. Just tap on all these points for a few minutes. Okay. If you are in front of somebody, then just do like this very gently. Nobody will even come to know that you're tapping. Okay. You can even do gentle tapping like this. Very gentle tapping also works. Very, very gentle tapping. So even in presence of somebody, you can do tapping. So you can calm yourself down even when you are doing your work. So in the morning, it's preventive. During the day, it's more reactive. Whenever it's happening, you will use tapping. And then do 20 to 30 minutes of meditation whenever you're feeling a little good. Okay. So ideal time for meditation is mornings, or in the afternoons after lunch, or maybe before sleeping, or for meditation you can do at any time actually. And the best way to meditate is to simply close your eyes. You can be in this mudra. This is called the Dhyan mudra. There is bioelectricity flowing from all these fingers. And when you short circuit these two fingers, it has been noticed that the brain waves calm down. That is why this particular thing is called a mudra, and it's called a particular posture which is also called the knowledge mudra or the gyan. Okay, gyan or dhyan, concentration mudra. So when you do this, bring your palms like this, put it on your laps, close your eyes, and just take deep breaths and focus on your nose. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And just focus on the tip of your nose. If your mind wanders, bring it back here and just be there for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Whenever you have time in between seeing your patients, just calm yourself down. Okay? So that's it, my dear friends, my dear doctors. That is it. This is my contact information. In case you want to reach out to me, this is my email ID and my phone number. You can reach out at any time and I'll be happy to help you guys. Okay, thank you so much. And over to you, Dr. Tushar.
Hi. Neeraj, Ashok is probably not there. So Neeraj, sir, this time it was even more explanatory than ever.
Thank you.
So now let me just for the sake of the audience, let me just ask a few questions. That does it make significant difference when you are speaking loudly and when you are just saying it in your mind?
So actually, doctor, when you speak it a little loudly, you are able to connect with your emotions better. This is happening to me, that is happening to me. So you're able to connect with your emotions better. And if you're able to connect with the emotions, and along with that, if you tap, the emotions are removed faster. But for some reason, if you're not able to speak out loudly, even the feelings inside and just focusing on the emotions and tapping will remove the emotions. So both work, but speaking out is more effective.
Second is there are times where people may feel uncomfortable, but they are not able to actually locate what is the bother issue.
Correct.
Exact bother issue. Sometimes you may be able to locate that this is the exact situation, but sometimes you feel everything is okay, but still I'm not feeling very comfortable.
Correct.
What kind
so then,
of statements can you sort of compose
in the beginning, right? Yeah, the setup statement. So the setup statement, if you feel that you're not able to identify the emotion, like whether it's worry, anxiety, tension, you're not able to identify what the emotion is, but somehow you're not feeling good. So then you can even tap directly and say, even though I'm not feeling good and I don't know what's happening to me, I still love and accept myself. Okay, so you can even say that statement. There's no problem.
Then thirdly, there is a second round of tapping, which is the positive tapping, which we have not discussed. So is it to be done immediately following? Is it required? Is it mandatory? Or if you are feeling cool and composed, then you may not do the round of positive tapping.
It's not required, doctor, because when you do this is called negative tapping. When you say, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling anxiety. So that's called negative tapping. But when you do negative tapping, it removes all the emotions. And after that, if you feel like you want to do positive, because some people say, I've said so many negative things, so some people have this feeling that I'm saying negative things. So for them, it might be a good idea to just kind of, let them tap on the positive feelings and finish one round. So they can say, I'm feeling calm and peaceful, I'm feeling calm and peaceful, I'm feeling calm and peaceful. So they can do a positive round. That's not a problem.
Then the ones who advocate the use of both the hands,
yes,
does this have any specific advantage on rather than the single point
no, it
tapping?
doesn't matter. So when you tap and you start on, say, let's say you start on both sides and then you just start with one finger, one hand, it's perfectly fine. So sometimes you can tap on the left, sometimes you can tap on the right. So after you do this point on the left or the right side, you can do this on the left also. So any one side is fine.
And sometimes even just the thought process of doing it can calm yourself, or do you necessarily need to
Tap.
Tap?
No, doctor, we need to tap, because
Tap.
if we're just thinking negative, if we are in the negative field, I'm not feeling good, not feeling good, not feeling good, unfortunately that increases negativity. Okay, because when you're thinking negative, the negativity increases. But when you're thinking about this along with tapping, you're sending the signals to the amygdala, and that's what really creates the magic. So tapping is essential. Yeah.
So this has been about 4 or 5 weeks since I first heard you, and I have myself used it, and I shared with you that it is very, very helpful. And I would encourage all our colleagues who are there and who may see our videos later also, because this is permanently recorded for them. So I would encourage everybody to share and really acknowledge and do this tapping. Neeraj, you have any questions?
Yeah, so I wanted to know whether this type of tapping, can a group activity help much better? Say maybe we are nursing home owners, both of us, so we have some staff working for us. So maybe we can just at least get the admin staff with us. I don't know whether the clinical staff, and maybe the clinical staff in the second stage, so something like that. Will it work in a group activity, or it has to be like an individual activity?
No, it can be done as a group activity also, because there is something called group tapping. So and tapping is so advanced that you can even do tapping for others. So let's say somebody is suffering, somebody is suffering in emotions or pain, then you can tap for somebody in a group, and you will see the pain on the other person subsiding very quickly. Now, a lot of people ask me, how does this work? You know, how is it that you are able to help other people? It's because these systems work at an energy level, and energy level is beyond physical space and physical body and all of that. And that's why, you know, if you've heard of things like Reiki is a system wherein you can do distance healing of any person. So same way, this is also a technique which can work across any distance. The person could be sitting even in America, and you can heal, you know, you can tap from here and it can make a difference to that person there.
This one more question. Does the other person for whom we are tapping have to perceive that there is something wrong with him? Because we may perceive that there is something wrong with that person. Like, for example, a behavioral issue. Let us say a behavioral issue with some of our staff or some maybe a patient's relative. And the patient feels, or that person is feeling absolutely correct, but we feel it's wrong. So then when we tap for that particular emotion, does it work?
It always works, doctor, because whether the person accepts it, doesn't know, knows, whatever, it always helps. And EFT has no side effects, so it only helps because it removes emotions. And emotions are always there. Howsoever positive we are, there is stuff going on inside. You know, there is something going on always. So every time you tap, it is removing something from the system which is going to make us more healthier. So there's no problem at all.
I think Neeraj's question was very, very contextual and relevant now that we maybe we can do a little group tapping session along with our staff, and it will really encourage and boost and make them less fearful and anxious. Because all of a sudden, no, we are non-COVID hospital, and suddenly a COVID patient turns up and they go totally panicky, and they disappear from the scene, and the care of the other patients can be affected.
Yes.
And this is just so ongoing, because it's just not going away anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be quite a while before it goes away. So I like that point statement that things will be very, very good afterwards.
It has to come, doctor.
We can safely expect that to happen.
Yeah. The law is the law of the universe that, nothing is permanent and it has to come. Now, how and how long, we don't know, but it has to come. There is no
So all the wonderful journeys and travels having and wonderful experiences we were having, we were relishing it. This had to happen to neutralize, and we will go back to even better experiences soon. Sooner.
Yes, absolutely, doctor.
Neeraj,
and I would like to suggest that, this is such a simple thing. You can share it with all your staff members. Let them use this technique on themselves. If everybody uses on themselves, then everybody is calm and peaceful. It just helps everybody deal with their own emotions, because everybody is worried. The challenge is that,
So as the people educate themselves on tapping, they'll find many more points. But like you have encouraged before, we have to stick to these 9 points, and they are the primary core meridians.
These are the most important 9 points. There are many other points, but typically the system that I use, they say 9 points is more than enough. So you don't.
And the breathing which you mentioned at the end of the tapping rounds, the expiration has to be more than inspiration. The breathing out has to be longer than the breathing in, or there's nothing like that.
No.
Just a regular.
Nothing like that. Yeah,
So there is
like
no
that.
protocol.
But yeah, when you take a deep breath, when you inhale, you take a deep breath. Nice deep breath.
Yeah, you should reduce your breath to about 3 to 4 breaths a minute. That kind of breath.
I think it just do according to capacity, because when a person is under anxiety, that person may not be able to breathe so much, So we can just ask the person to take as much deep as possible.
As possible in this.
Yes.
Okay. Right, Neeraj?
Okay.
We are
Thank
good.
you very much. Yeah. So
Uh,
I have
one
taken a
one
screenshot of your tapping photo. What I would suggest is that I will just attach your rise date. Can you send me your last slide screenshot that I
I'll
couldn't
do
take?
that. I'll do
Yeah.
that.
Once you
Yes,
send me the last screenshot, I'll just attach both of them and send it to all our viewers.
Yeah,
surely.
and also if you are conducting a course in the near future, I believe you are doing it every weekend. So maybe you
Yes.
can attach the program, your free seminar and the
You can
course,
send me the PDF.
Yes.
I'll just attach that image on the PDF and send it to
or
everyone.
we'll circulate
Fine.
it.
Okay.
So
Fine. That'll be nice because we do detailed programs where, this is taught in much more detail. This is just the tip of the iceberg, really.
Right. I
your
understand.
next program is on what, sir? The next weekend, if you may mention.
Yes, in the coming Saturday and Sunday, we have on Sunday, in fact, we have a session of about 2 hours on the power of the subconscious mind. So it
Yeah.
talks
So
about how the subconscious mind really works and how you can use it to your benefit, to create more success, happiness, deal with all kinds of, emotions and all of that. So it talks about in brief what the subconscious mind really is.
so if you can send the link for that, our
I'll do
audience
that.
will be very.
Yes, surely.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot,
you.
Sunilji. It
Thank
was
you.
very nice. Thanks a lot.
It's
I
my
hope
pleasure,
our audience
Doctor.
enjoyed it as much as we did.
Surely, it's really my pleasure, Dr. Tushar and Dr. Neeraj and Dr. Ashok. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'll be happy to come whenever you ask me. We can do even more sessions. There's not a problem at
Thank you.
all.
Happy
Yeah,
Thank
tapping.
you.
I just
We
hope it
should
helps
but
everybody.
today as saying happy tapping to all.
Tap away yourself to more happiness and joy.
Right. Thanks a lot.